Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 31, Text 18. Yene Drishim Gatim Asau Dashamasya Isha Sangrahita Purudayena Bhavadrashena Sveneva Tushyatu Kritena Sadinanatha Ko Nama Tatprati Vinanchalim Asya Kuryat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My dear Lord, by your causeless mercy, I am awakened to consciousness, although I am only 10 months old. For this causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the friend of all fallen souls, there is no way to express my gratitude but to pray with folded hands. So the baby in the womb of the mother is continuing to pray to the Supreme Lord. He's saying, I'm awakened to consciousness. Now I'm realizing that you are the friend of all the fallen souls. You know, we think we are the best friend of everyone. We're always trying to be the best friend of everyone, trying to take Krishna's position. But actually, it's only Krishna who's everyone's best friend. How? Because we may be friends with someone till the time they're in the body, but when they have to leave the body, we can't save them. But Krishna can. Krishna can save us. So Krishna is the best friend of all living entities. And so the child is praying that there is no way to express my gratitude but to pray with folded hands. So he is feeling grateful that he has been given this opportunity to offer prayers to the Lord. You know, because he's feeling, oh, now I realized my position. I have realized your position. And this is by your mercy. And so he's feeling grateful. Gratitude. Gratitude is a very important quality. You know, when we are honest, then we can be grateful. And then comes humility. So we need to be honest to realize our position and the mercy of God. And when we express our gratitude, then Krishna is also happy. And it purifies our heart. It purifies our heart when we express our gratitude to Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, intelligence and forgetfulness are both supplied by the super soul sitting with the individual soul within the body. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he is the one who gives us knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Jnanam, what does he say? That Jnanam Smaran Apohanam Cha. He says that in 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So we are proud of our memory, we are proud of our knowledge. Everything is given to us by Krishna. You know, sometimes when we want to remember something, we can't remember it. And sometimes when we don't even make an effort to remember, we can just remember things very clearly. Goes to say it's not in our control. It's given to us by Krishna, who's sitting in our heart as the Paramatma. So when he sees that a conditioned soul is very serious about getting out of the clutches of the material influence, the Supreme Lord gives intelligence internally as super soul and externally as the spiritual master or as an incarnation of the personality of Godhead himself. He helps by speaking instructions such as Bhagavad Gita. So our desire, Krishna, he is always fulfilling our desire. What is our desire? We wanted to be God. That's the reason Krishna put us here in the material world. We were jealous of Krishna, envious of Krishna.
Oh, your voice is
Why is
cracking.
Krishna? Oh, yeah, my internet is not that great today, I think,
Because it's like freezing for a bit, then can hear a few words, and again it goes into the freeze zone.
Oh, is it? So that's what's continuously happening, huh?
Yeah, like it's happened. This is like the third time it happened. So first I thought it's my listening, but I was on 4G. It was not on Wi-Fi on my phone.
No, my internet is not very smooth today, actually. The whole day has been happening.
Okay.
So let's continue with this. Please, let's see how far we can reach. So then so what happens is that Krishna, he sees our desire. Our desire was to imitate Krishna. Our desire is, we are jealous of Krishna. Why is Krishna God? Why I can't be God? So that's why we are put here in the material world. And we have been in this material world since a very long time. Then, when we suddenly get a change of desire, when we get the desire to get out of the material world, because the material world, Krishna has so designed it that will one day bring us to the understanding, oh, I don't belong here. I need to get out of here. So when we have that desire, then Krishna makes the arrangements for us to help us get out. But it has to be a sincere desire. Krishna sees our sincerity. Is it that we want to continue to imitate that we are God? We want to continue pretend we are God? We're continuing with our jealousy of God? Or we are really having a change of heart. We are really sincere to find out the truth. And if we are sincere, then Krishna, who is the Paramatma in our heart, he gives us the intelligence internally and externally. How? Through the bona fide spiritual master, a spiritual master that has been chosen by Krishna. A spiritual master has to be chosen by Krishna. That's why he is bona fide. Just anybody cannot proclaim themselves to become spiritual master. Not that anyone will suddenly say, okay, now I'm a spiritual master. No, has to be bona fide, has to be empowered by Krishna. Just as yesterday we gave the example that if we have to post a letter, we have to put it in the letter box, which is authorized by the postal system. If I just take any letter box and paint it red and green and put a letter in it, the letter is going to remain there. Why? Because it's not authorized. Similarly, if I find a spiritual master who's not authorized by Krishna, then he's not going to be able to take me to Krishna. He's not going to be able to take me out of the material world. So we need to find such a spiritual master who is bona fide representative of Krishna. Or Krishna helps also when he comes himself and gives us the instructions such as Bhagavad Gita. Why did Krishna speak the Bhagavad Gita? It was not only for Arjuna. Arjuna is an instrument for Bhagavad Gita to be spoken for our benefit so that we can follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita and get out of this material world. The Lord is always seeking the opportunity to reclaim the fallen souls to his abode, the kingdom of God. We should always feel very much obliged to the personality of Godhead, for he is always anxious to bring us into the happy condition of eternal life. So God is always anxious to bring us back to the spiritual world. The spiritual world is the kingdom of God. That is where we belong because we are all spirit souls. So we belong in the spiritual world. We do not belong in this material world. And so God, he's always very anxious to bring us back home. And because of this, we should feel obliged. He does not say, oh, you wanted to imitate me. You are envious of me. Now forever you live in the material world. No, he does not say that. He does not say, oh, you wronged me, and so now you cannot come back home. No, he's always, in fact, anxiously waiting for us to go back home. There's very beautiful description in Brahad Bhagavatamrita when Gop Kumar, when he goes back to Golok Vrindavan, and how when he meets Krishna, and the meeting with Krishna, it is so much full of love. It fills the heart. So we should feel obliged to God that He's bringing us back home. You know, we have wronged Him and yet He wants us back. So there is no sufficient means to repay the personality of Godhead for His act of benediction. Therefore, we can simply feel gratitude and pray to the Lord with folded hands. We cannot repay God for His compassion, for His mercy. We cannot. The only way what we can do is be grateful, offer our gratitude by folding our hands and praying to Him and thanking Him for His mercy. Because God does not say, oh, you left me, so now no way, now I'm closing the material world. It is just one-way traffic. You can only go inside, but you cannot come out. No, He comes again and again to bring us out. He speaks Bhagavad Gita. He's left behind Srimad Bhagavatam. He keeps sending His devotees. Why? To bring us back home. He does not want us to be here in the material world. He wants us to go back home. So this prayer of the child in the womb may be questioned by some atheistic people. How can a child pray in such a nice way in the womb of his mother? Everything is possible by the grace of the Lord. The child is put into such a precarious condition externally, but internally he is the same, and the Lord is there. By the transcendental energy of the Lord, everything is possible. So we can say, we can argue a child can't even speak. The child, the only thing he does is cry. He doesn't know anything. How come he's offering such beautiful prayers? But Prabhupada is pointing out by the mercy of the Lord, everything is possible. The child is only in the body is that of the child, but the soul is the same soul. The consciousness is the same. The Paramatma is the same. The remembrance is given by Paramatma. The intelligence is given by Paramatma. So by the grace of the Paramatma, the child remembers the Supreme Lord, and he's offering these prayers. Pashyati ayam disha naya nanu saptavadrihe sharirake dama shariri apara swadehe yatsrashtaya samtam aham purusham puranam pashye bahirhidi cha chetyam eva pratitam. The living entity in another type of body sees only by instinct. He knows only the agreeable and disagreeable sense perceptions of that particular body. But I have a body in which I can control my senses and can understand my destination. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whom I have been blessed with this body and by whose grace I can see Him within and without. So the child is continuing with the prayers, and by this we can understand that we are not God. We are not Paramatma. Only God is God. And that's why we offer prayers to God, because He is stronger than us. He's supreme. He's maintaining us. He's taking care of us. So we offer our prayers and gratitude to God. The evolutionary process of different types of bodies is something like that of a fructifying flower. Just as there are different stages in the growth of a flower, the bud stage, the blooming stage, and the full-fledged grown-up stage of aroma and beauty. Similarly, there are 8,400,000 species of bodies in gradual evolution, and there is systematic progress from the lower species of life to the higher. So Prabhupada has given a beautiful analogy. He's saying that just as we see the bud is there on the plant, then gradually the bud keeps opening. So there are the different, we can see how the flower becomes more and more visible. And then finally, when the flower is in full bloom, there's fragrance and the most beautiful. So similarly, Prabhupada is giving this nice analogy for us to understand the evolution of consciousness in the 8,400,000 species of life. They are the lower species, the trees, the plants, the aquatics, the reptiles, the birds, then the animals, then come human beings. So there's a gradual evolution of consciousness. It's not that the plants are there only and the animals are not there. No, no, this is the evolution of consciousness. All the species exist at the same time, but the soul goes from one to another, depending on the consciousness. The human form of life is supposed to be the highest, for it offers consciousness for getting out of the clutches of birth and death. So we have been in animal bodies also. We have been in plant bodies before. We have been in fish body before. We have been in bird bodies before too. But in those forms of life, we do not have the intelligence to understand that I'm not the body, I'm the soul, and I need to get out of this material world. This intelligence is only in the human body. And that's the reason we should make full use of this human body and actually get out of this material world. The fortunate child in the womb of his mother realizes his superior position and is thereby distinguished from other bodies. Animal and bodies lower than that of the human being are conscious only as far as their bodily distress and happiness are concerned. They cannot think of more than their bodily necessities of life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So the fortunate child, he's understanding, oh, gratefully, right now I am in the human body, because if I was in the animal body, then I cannot understand, I don't have the intelligence to understand. I'm not this body, I'm the soul, I need to get out of this body. The child is understanding, he's realizing that, oh, if I was in the animal body, the only thing that I can do is think I need food, I need to sleep, I need to find a shelter, and there is someone attacking me, I need to defend myself, I need to mate. That's all that animals can do. Animals don't have the intelligence to understand, oh, how can I make a permanent solution? How can I get liberation? That is only in the human form of life. By the grace of God, the consciousness is so developed that a man can evaluate his exceptional position and thus realize the self and the Supreme Lord. That's the reason this human body is called a suitable boat to cross over the ocean of material existence. The captain of the boat is the authorized spiritual master, and the favorable winds are the Vedic scriptures. So the word Dhamma Shariri means that we have a body in which we can control the senses and the mind. The complication of materialistic life is due to an uncontrolled mind and uncontrolled senses. So we have this human body, and we do have the capacity, the capability to control our mind and senses. We have the capability to follow the regulative principles of the scriptures. That's the reason the scriptures are there for the human beings and for us to follow. But by not following them, then we behave like animals. With uncontrolled mind, uncontrolled senses, our activities become animalistic activities. So we need to follow these rules and regulations of the scriptures to be on the platform of a human being. One should feel grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for having obtained such a nice human form of body, and one should properly utilize it. So we should feel grateful to God even to give us this human body, because right now we could have been in an animal body. But by God's grace, we have been given a human body. And by God's grace, that He has given that human body can have the intelligence to get out of the material world. If He would not have so designed it, we would not be able to do it. So we need to be grateful to God. You know, we without God, we are nothing. We could have been condemned here in the material world forever and ever. But God does not do that. He wants us to come back as soon as possible. The distinction between an animal and a man is that animal cannot control himself and has no sense of decency, whereas the human being has the sense of decency and can control himself. So we can see we do have that control, whereas animals don't. Animals will eat wherever, sleep whenever, wherever. But human beings, we have set, oh, this is the place I'm going to eat, this is where I'm going to sleep. If this controlling power is not exhibited by the human being, then he is no better than an animal. By controlling the senses or by the process of yoga regulation, one can understand the position of his self, the supersoul, the world, and their interrelation. Everything is possible by controlling the senses. Otherwise, we are no better than animals. So, control of mind and senses is the beginning, it is the doorway to bhakti. All the processes of self-realization begins by control mind and senses. Even the yoga process says that, bhakti process says that, the gyan process says that. All the processes will first say control of mind and senses. Real self-realization by means of controlling the senses is explained herein. One should try to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead and one's own self also. To think oneself the same as the Supreme is not self-realization. So if we think I am God, or if we think, okay, right now I'm in the material body, but once I become liberated, once I get out of this body, when I'm situated as the soul, then I will become God. Then I am God. I'm as great as God. That is not self-realization at all. That is again coming to the same material realization. What we have to understand that God is God and I am a part and parcel of God. That is self-realization. Here it is clearly explained that the Supreme Lord is Anadi or Purana and he has no other cause. The living entity is born of the Supreme Godhead as part and parcel. So God has no cause. Why does God exist? He just exists because he's God. He has no other origin. He has no cause. But what about the jivas, the souls? We have a cause. Why do we exist? We exist because God exists, because we are part and parcel of God. Why does God exist? He just exists. There is no cause to him. So there is a difference between God and us. This is the point we need to understand, that we are not God. Only God is God. So it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Anadir Adir Govinda. Govinda, the Supreme Person, has no cause. So Brahmaji, he tells us that Krishna is God. Brahmaji in his beautiful prayers of Brahma Samhita, he tells us the position. He tells us the name of God. He says Govinda. Govinda, his name is Govinda. And he says that he is unborn. He has no cause. Anadir Adir Govinda. But the living entity is born of him. So God has no cause. God has no, he does not have a mother and a father. Well, we will say, but Krishna has Devki and Yashoda and Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj. But that's all for the sake of pastimes. If we speak of Tattva, Krishna exists. He is the original person. He has no cause, but we have a cause. We are born of Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Mama Vamsa, both the living entity and the Supreme Lord are unborn. But it has to be understood that the supreme cause of the part and parcel is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are part and parcel of God. So we have a cause. We exist. Why? Because God exists. Why does God exist? There is no cause. He just exists. That is the difference. Brahma Samhita therefore says that everything has come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sarva Karana Karanam. So Brahmaji, he says, Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes, that is God. You know, we do research work. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Because. And we will come to Krishna. And there is no cause for Krishna. Krishna is the cause of all causes. The Vedanta Sutra confirms this also, Janmadi Asya Yataha. The absolute truth is the original source of everyone's birth. So why do I exist? Why does the soul exist? The soul, we're not talking about the body. When we say I, we're speaking about the soul. Why does the soul exist? The soul exists because the soul is a part and parcel of God. That's the reason the soul exists. We are the soul. So we exist because we are part and parcel of God. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. I am the source of birth of everything, including Brahma and Lord Shiva and the living entities. So who is God? God has a name. He's a person. And his name is Krishna, Govinda, Gopala. He has unlimited names. So this is self-realization. One should know that he's under the control of the Supreme Lord and not think that he's fully independent. Otherwise, why should he be put into conditional life? So this is the point we have to understand, that we are not God. If we were God, why are we put inside this material body? Why we are struggling so much? We want to get out of the body, become liberated, be situated as the soul, but we are not able to. You know, the point we have to understand is we are not God. We are not independent, but we are completely dependent on God. We are completely controlled by the Supreme Lord. Is that okay? Are there any questions or comments? So if someone tells us, oh, you're not God now, but I can make you God after you give up this material body, I will show you how you are God. That is just another form of continuing to cheat ourselves, because we can never become God. Never, ever. We are part and parcel of God. We are souls. We are the soul. We are not God. Only God is God. So we'll stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.